All right, so we were going to film in the car.
Oh,
like
were we?
usually do, but it's fucking cold out.
It's fine. Right?
Yeah, I sat in the thing and I was like, well, we could do a car one. And then I was
I
like,
thought we were going to go home, like, immediately.
no, I wanted to film there, but then I was like, fuck this noise. Because then we'd have to turn the thing off for it to get, like, to not mess the audio up. Because you know I'm a stickler for perfect audio and visuals when it comes to this stuff. All right.
No, I'm just
nowhere near knocking all the shit over.
Yeah.
So we just saw Abigail.
Yes.
The newest film by Radio Silence. Also did Ready or Not, which I absolutely loved.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved that movie.
And the last two Scream movies.
Setting vibes.
Because the lead girl from this was the star of the last two Scream movies. She's no longer involved in those movies, nor the director, because she spoke out about the Hamas and Israel stuff, so they fired her. So she was off the movie, and then out of solidarity, Jenna Ortega quit as well. And then the director was like, peace, I'm out. And said he did this, which is like Vampire Megan. Almost.
Yeah.
Did you see Megan?
I did not see Megan, but that was the vibe.
Okay.
That I got off
and
of Megan.
The one location too was sort of like a sort of like Ready or Not as well.
Yeah,
the
old ass
mansion.
Yeah, old ass mansion.
Did you know? And this is something that I totally didn't look up and just knew this. Did you know that Abigail in Hebrew means father's joy?
Maybe at one point I knew that because I had a friend named Abigail, and when we translated our names into, well, I think in a different language.
No, so you said you looked at
Sorry.
IMDb. You looked at IMDb. Okay,
Huh?
I just knew it. Okay.
I was gonna go off about Elvish for a second.
Go ahead.
No, well, I was trying to remember. I knew that it has a similar phrasing in Greek. I think they translated. I can't remember now. But there's a website that we use to translate our names into Elvish, and it gave translations, like my dead name translated to light, and that's vague enough that you guys won't be able to. But Abigail's
your
translated.
dead name is Ray.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hers, I think, was it was like God's joy or something. Like it was close, but it was like it had
that
a
makes
more
sense. Father.
Exactly.
God, you know.
So I think her name in Elvish was Aruana.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not related.
No, not at all. Yeah, this is the girl Melissa something or other from the last two Scream movies. Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad. Fucking Matthew Good at the end as Dracula.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, fucking Ozymandias from Watchmen.
I thought he looked familiar. I was like, I know that man. Not personally, but
the dude who was he was in the Guest. He was also in he was the dentist in Godzilla vs Kong, Frozen Empire, whatever it was called.
Yes, I saw Godzilla X Kong the other night. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I liked it.
That's not the review.
Caitlin Newton, who I'm a big fan of. I loved her in Well, too. Also, she looks like, especially in Lisa Frankenstein, she looks like our former employee that we had, SJ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, especially with the dark hair. And I kept sending SJ pictures because she lives in France now.
Of course she
And
does.
I'm just like, dude, like this chick looks like you. And she's like, oh yeah, she does. She's like, wow, you banged a movie star. And I was like, you know, not really, but
not really.
not the movie star. Yeah, she's in Freaky. She's in Lisa Frankenstein. She's great. I really like her in this one. So this is a loose remake of Dracula's Daughter, just minus any of the veiled lesbianism of Dracula's Daughter. A bunch of
except for that one scene. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, a bunch of professionals, criminals. They kidnap the daughter of a very wealthy person, and they drive her to this remote house, and they basically have to just watch her for 24 hours until the pickup comes, and they start to turn on each other, and questions become raised, and it's like a 12 Little Indians type of thing. I do like that. Obviously, his real name is Gustavo Fring, but he's such an incredible character on Breaking Bad. he's like, you guys are a pack of rats, and he gives everybody names of the Rat Pack, except when he gets to the one black guy who would be Sammy Davis Jr., he calls him Don Rickles. And then there's a big fucking Russian or French Canadian dude who looks like Elon Musk.
Like a little bit.
Yeah, right.
You
like,
said that, I was like, because I'm. Sorry, most of
like it's if
I had literally been sitting there. I'm like, why do you look familiar?
He like if you exposed Elon Musk to gamma radiation, you know.
Or steroids.
Yeah.
Not implying that this actor's on steroids, more that Elon, in order to get as muscular as this gentleman, would have to be.
Do you know
on
that
steroids.
he changed the name of Twitter to X because his daughter is trans, and he said that Twitter has the connotation of turning people into liberals and controlling their minds. So by changing it to X, he can untrans his daughter.
I think it's actually because he also tried to name PayPal X, and I was like, that's stupid. So he was like, well, now I can do it with Twitter. Fuck you.
I just like the idea that just like Xing it is gonna like detrans it, you know?
That's exactly how it works, guys. We've cracked the code.
I know. I've been saying this for years. Also that, you know.
Didn't stay.
Oh, it did?
No, so this has been on, well, this stayed on initially all yesterday, last night. I woke up, brushed my teeth, we went and ate dinner. But then when we were sitting in the theater, I chewed it off, so then I put it back on while the movie was still playing.
I saw, I was busy though going out and complaining to the manager.
Because
these kids would not, and they weren't even kids. When I walked by,
they sounded like teenagers.
No, they were in their like 20s.
So they were probably drunk. Honestly,
it could have been
because I think I kept hearing them go. Shh. I think they were louder than they were. Like they thought they were.
Because at one point in the movie, like it's getting quiet, and they're like going through and they're looking for stuff.
They're talking about like, oh well, let's plan this, that, and the other thing.
And I'm just like,
there's people just talking. Like,
and I'm just like, can you shut the fuck up?
They did not.
And I don't like to do that in movies. So. They you know, everybody is not like a very Reservoir Dogs-y type of no real names, no backstories kind of thing. Yeah. And then we find out that the little girl who's a ballerina who's dancing to Swan Lake, which is the main song of 1933, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, is a vampire. And she's a vampire ballerina. And I love that they never drop the vampire ballerina line. It just goes like anytime she's doing vampire shit,
she's just also
ballet shit also is included. Apparently the writer was like, he thinks that ballerinas are creepy.
I mean, that's fair.
And then did you ever see Cabin in the Woods?
Yes.
Remember there's a little ballerina girl with like the lamprey eel face?
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew immediately who you were talking about. So I actually like memorized all of those monsters. Like I went and I looked up all their names. Like
I'm never gonna see a merman.
Into that fucking movie. And obviously Fornicus, Lord of Pain, but the not pinhead.
The not pinhead, yeah.
With the saws, but no, that was one. Don't remember if the ballerina had a name. I don't think she did. At least not on the not on the wall, the whiteboard. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, sorry. I'll shut up about
Cabin in the Woods is great.
Movie.
Cabin in the Woods was made before Star Trek 09. Because Liam Thor...
That's how old Cabin in the Woods is?
Yeah, so Cabin in the Woods was made in probably 07, 08, something like that. It didn't come out because they were scared to go up against like the Saw movies that were out at that time. So it sat on the shelf for a really long time. Because Liam Hemsworth, Thor, he plays Kirk's dad in 2009.
Isn't Liam the brother?
What's his name? Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth,
Thor,
yeah.
How the fuck do I know that?
Yeah, because all the Chris's. Chris Hemsworth, Chris
Pine,
Chris Pratt, Chris Evans.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Chris Christopherson.
Yeah. The classic.
Chris Kattan, the star of Corky Romano. So that movie sat on the shelf for a really long time. It came out in like 2011.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think it was quite
something like that because I lived in I had heard about it in Fangoria. We'll get back to Abigail. I had heard about it. In Fangoria, and then reading like websites at the time about like how this movie was sitting on the shelf, and because Joss Whedon was a writer on it and stuff like that.
I'm surprised I didn't know that with how in depth I got into it, but I was focused on the lore of the story, not so much.
Opening weekend, I'm living in Wildwood Crest. The theater's closed for the season. It was playing in Rio Grande, was the closest theater. So Crystal and I went to go see it opening night, Friday night. We were the only two people in the theater.
What?
Yeah, it
No,
did
it was
not
so
do
good.
well. We loved it. We went back and saw it again before
yeah,
it left the theater and stuff like that. Actually,
I do remember a lot of people like shitting on it at the time.
She was because we saw it again up in New Brunswick. Like literally the theater we passed the other night, that AMC is where she and I went and saw it when she was in college there. So yeah, I remember really, really digging that one. And this kind of has a little bit of that feel as well. It also because it takes the concept of
it does do the
of what we know of those of like the situations. Also a lot of From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, there's a lot, when they had the whole conversation of like how do you kill a vampire and all that kind of stuff. That's right out of Tarantino's script for for that. And I like how all that shit just goes out the window.
Yeah, well, the stakes still work.
The stakes still work.
We don't find out for a while.
Yeah. But it's like
the garlic, she just does not care.
Well, because she comes back with a bag of onions.
Yeah.
And he's like, fucking onions.
Well, no, they do grab garlic correctly.
Eventually, yes. Yeah. But they send her the first.
She's like, I don't cook. I'm like, oh, you sure don't.
Yeah, they're so each of them has a secret. You've got they're all kind of like doing the mercenary thing where they're all like having a pissing contest, and she's taking people's money and she can figure.
Oh yeah, because the one guy. So that's the other thing is they're all getting on her for like reading people. He literally asked, like he said, crisp $100 if you can say one true thing about me. And of course she completely profiles him, and then fucking Sammy's like, oh, me next, and like people keep or no, I think it was the Elon Musk looking.
Yeah.
What the fuck was his name?
Elon Musk.
No, it wasn't. I keep wanting to say Frank. It was Peter. But yeah, Peter was like, oh, me next, and then Sammy got. I don't remember what order, but anyway, yeah. So they're fucking they're literally egging her on to do this, paying her $100. Well,
the only one that's 20. Yeah.
And then eventually, then later they're yelling at her for that. They're like, "We know so much about each other,"
and it was their fault.
It's your fucking fault. I literally.
And it all started because the dude walked in without his fucking covering his face. And I like the other little in joke, and I don't know if this is just me reading into it, but it's a vampire movie, and he goes like this, which is so Bela Lugosi. Like even in Plan 9 from Outer Space, because he was dead, they had Ed Wood's wife's chiropractor covering his face with a cape, even though he was taller and bald.
Details.
Yeah, exactly. So Ed Wood says, suspension of disbelief. It's not about the tiny detail. It's all about the big picture.
Definitely.
And they're like, well, isn't it like that car was driving in daytime, and when it got here, it was nighttime? And he's like, don't worry about it. It's not important. So you got the one girl is the tech person. You got the driver. You've got the body.
Who I guess passed away in between the not the character, the actor did.
The guy who was the driver. He was the one who died. Okay, so he passed away, and
his
then
name is Dean in this movie.
Yeah, and his name is like Cloud.
Angus Cloud, yes.
Okay, I was gonna say Cloud Atlas, but I was like, no wait, that's the Wachowski sisters movie. Yeah. But apparently, like he finished all of his scenes. He passed away during the strike, so they wouldn't even have been able to bring him back anyway. He finished all of his scenes. His head comes off. It was crazy. That was the one really thing I liked about this movie was a lot of gore.
Yes.
And for a while I was waiting because all the reviews I had seen and everything I'd read so far was like, oh my god, it's so gory. And I was like, I'm waiting. I'm like, okay.
It's definitely I think I came in expecting a bit more of a gore fest because of how you talked about it, but then. I think they paced it well, honestly, because you obviously have to set up the story itself, and then, eventually it's just them trapped in there with the little girl, right? Yeah. So there are only so many bodies you can have anyway, so they spread them out quite nicely.
Well, until you get to the pool.
Well, yes, but fresh bodies.
Yeah.
That pool was something else. Oh my goodness. He's like, how many bodies are you talking? Like 3, and she just fucking screams. There's like 100 of them in there. Oh my god. Although, I'll bloated one. I'm not a fan of floaters, but... Sorry, your light's just like flickering.
Oh no, my apartment's haunted.
But yeah, no, that I do think they spaced out like, and also the blood and like gore ramped up. I don't know if that was on purpose, because at first we just have, oh, he got decapitated, you know, and it's like, oh, now like, you know, the Rickles' face and like neck area are ripped open, and like it builds, and then eventually people are just exploding into like,
because it takes a while for you to reveal that she's a vampire.
Yeah.
And
because that's the main thing. I was like, what is like, she could break out of this at any time. Yeah, she had been,
and that was the whole. That's the whole thing. Is that the entire time? I mean, spoilers. She's just fucking with him like the entire time. There was no kidnapping plot. There was any of it. Everyone who was there crossed her father, who's this big urban legend crime lord. And there's a legend of this like assassin that works for him.
Yeah.
Valdez.
I don't know why I always remember.
And so they're building up that one of them could be Valdez, and it could be the dude from King Kong vs. Godzilla and all this kind of stuff.
Because initially Abigail's like, oh, he told me to keep this as secret. Yeah, I was like, that's too soon. Also, I know you're a vampire. Also, what? Why would he tell you that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That was all.
And then there was like, I love the use of the house. I love that it reminded me of like a haunted house attraction, like all the different areas and rooms and hallways and shit like that. A lot of like Fright Factory looking stuff in there, and I thought that was really cool. It was very well paced. There was a couple times. The only thing that really drugs me out of it, and I'm not going to be like, because it was such an enjoyable experience. Yeah. But there was certain times where it goes, okay, well, the script says we have to do this now.
That's fair.
There was just a few too many, like, oh, if we do this, we can reroute the power. Right. Or, oh, we should go here. Yeah. Like, there was too many of that it felt like they wrote themselves into a corner, and then they had to be blunt about it. But because
it still worked in okay, especially with how they're already subverting the trope with the vampires a little bit. Not all of them. The sunlight still absolutely works, and the stakes.
It's like, are we talking Twilight? Are we talking True Blood?
Yeah, and Rice.
I like. And
I was like, well, they have a lot of things in common anyway, so you should really just start with those. And then, of course, they start.
But I like that those were I was like, that's so in character with that character though. That those would be the vampires and
Twilight,
the sexy ones, you know. And then you start picking people off. You got great use of Danzig. In the movie,
I was gonna.
Catherine Newton gets bitten, and she's not sure if she's gonna turn into a vampire. And Abigail's just fucking with her, and she's like, maybe. And she's like, she said maybe. Like,
that was amazing.
And apparently this has the most uses of the word fuck in any vampire movie ever.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Because, like, so a lot of it didn't feel like a vampire movie per se. It felt like fuck's the word I'm looking for. Not like a murder mystery, but yeah, essentially. Because obviously people are starting to get picked off, and I don't think
there is like an Agatha Christie element
which then
to
of
it.
course they referenced with that, and then they were done.
I like how he even turns the book though, like you would in a movie like that.
Like, damn.
And it just all.
Oh my god! Then he loses fucking mind. He was an interesting character. I mean, they all were. It was really solid.
Her biggest thing, the main character, the Melissa woman from Scream,
was Joey.
Joey. She was a junkie. She was
used to be an army medic.
An army medic who was using morphine because she was injured in battle, and she lost her son. And then when she finally got clean, she never went back for him. So that's her big thing.
Which, like, he had the most cop response to that I'd ever heard in my life. Like, she has this moment where she, like, sort of is detailing all this, how, like, her life kind of fell apart, and how she's determined now that she's like, I got clean so I could go back to him. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, boo-hoo, like, you know, just own your shit. I'm like, she did, though. Yeah. She took responsibility, she got clean, and now she's gonna go back in her kid's life. Like, you don't need to be bootstraps about this. Yeah. He was very cop about it, and I did not like that he got the last word on that conversation. Yeah. Because, like, you know, we were humanizing addicts, and, like, you know, that's a good thing because they're just people. Yeah.
And he was a vice cop who got into the life trying to get into the crime family. Yeah. And
then loved the power.
He liked the power too much.
Tracks.
And then he had two guys he flipped. and they were going to testify, but then Abigail got to them first. The other, so everybody had, and then it was the medic nicked an artery because she was high, and one of the dudes bled out. So everyone there has crossed, the Dracula, basically. I do like when they find out that they are trapped in there. One of the big dead giveaways is the crest on the door is the dragon, which is, Vlad the Impaler's family crest. I love the big Russian guy just like fucking throwing himself into the door, and then funny. He's the one who triggered the it's locked.
Oh yeah, but then he triggers the things coming over the windows.
Abigail danced.
Which they would have to do anyway. But
Abigail dancing with the headless body was great.
That was cute.
And then her kind of puppeting Catherine Newton's body to the Danzig song.
Oh my god.
Was
which was also. I loved, and I know I know that they probably just include this so people wouldn't yell at them.
Yeah.
But when she turned there was just little bits of sunlight coming in. It also did work for dramatic effect as well. But as she starts dancing and she's being puppeted by Abigail, her skin is slowly burning.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit of every time the light kind of just passes over her.
Which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
And I was like, she's even hot as a vampire, all
very
bloody,
hot as a
and
vampire. Well, I mean, I'm inclined to feel that way anyway.
It's
also,
true.
by the way, felt extra funny coming out of a vampire movie with fangs and my big ass cloak.
And then we had to justify there was a lot of vomit in the movie.
So yeah, there was one instance that bothered me, and then the second time he was vomiting blood, so I was okay. I covered my ears because of the audio still, but I could look at it. I watched it on the screen. I was totally fine. It's so strange to me that, for some reason, my body cares what the fluid is.
Okay.
And also, blood, objectively more fatal to be vomiting, is fine.
Yeah.
But just food or whatever is not fine. I don't know. But, there were only the two instances. Although that one was a little bit long.
It felt at times like in Team America World Police, where he's puking so long that it just keeps going to the point where he runs out of puke, and then they just start all over again. It's like
pain and suffering. But and then also that annoyed me because I guess it's because the method was different, so it's fine realistically, but because fucking Sammy didn't do that she turned into a puppet, so maybe that was the difference. But she turned enough that sunlight killed her. That was a fun little death. Oh my goodness. Because earlier there, she's spending a good chunk of the movie oh my god, am I gonna turn into a vampire? And then at one point they split up into teams, and they're like, well, who's gonna go with her? And then the big Russian guy, Peter, was like, no, it's okay, I saw your reflection in this. And she's like, aw, and she then drops it. So then later they grab it and use it to reflect the little bit of sunlight coming through the window to kill her. And
but she fucking explodes.
All the vampires explode no matter how they die. And that's what I'm like, towards the end, you just have bodies exploding into literally
because earlier
buckets
she
of
goes
blood.
to kill the cop,
and her hand explodes.
Her hand explodes,
literally.
But it starts to grow back, which is cool. And that's when they know, okay, sunlight is something that actually works.
But you gotta get them all at once.
They got well, it's like they do that at the end of From Dusk Till Dawn. And he's like, because I love at the end of Dusk Till Dawn. He's like, what are they, fucking psychos? And he says to Cheech Marin, he's like, I don't know. You ever see psychos explode when they get hit by sunlight before?
That's why I react that way every time I step outside. Oh my god,
vampires.
Every time I walk outside and I react to the sunlight, Paul's like, you're not beating the vampire allegations. I'm like, was I ever, though?
Sparkle. You could be a daywalker.
I could be a daywalker.
Like redheads who tan. They call them daywalkers.
Do they?
Yeah, well, that's what I call them.
Okay, that wasn't where I thought you were going. My brain very much went Blade, and I got excited.
Well, no, I mean, both ways.
Well, I know that's where
the exploding body parts were absolutely incredible. And it really does make up for the lack of gore that we see earlier in the movie. I like
that it ramps up.
Yeah, because we were really enjoying ourselves by the time you're getting to just bodies exploding and
the other group shut up.
And I thought that when she was jammed with the thing, I thought he was gonna get kicked into her.
I thought so
and
too.
Get impaled that way.
There was also a section because they had the like deer heads on the walls and whatnot. I was going Lost Boys a little bit.
Okay,
I was
I can
but
see
those
that.
aren't wood, so but then that didn't happen.
Because there's also the elk out front too that they could have used as well.
That's why I was like, I didn't know if maybe he was gonna get David.
They did that to Linnea Quigley as well in Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Okay.
Santa Claus picks her up and impales
her
her onto the topless, and it comes out under her tits.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then Santa gives a little girl a box cutter.
Oh no. It's a bad idea.
She's dancing the whole way. And
like dancing constantly.
She can fly now. I love that whole thing. Like, it just escalates and gets more insane.
She walked along the banister, very much. I was like, okay, this is. I feel like the actors may have actually done.
I think that was the girl from Scream. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting her. It's Melissa Joey. She apparently did as many stunts as she could.
Nice.
And she gets beat the fuck up
at
the end of this movie, man. They're throwing her through everything. Gustavo Fring turns the cop into a vampire, and then together, what's up?
So initially I thought that was my phone.
Yeah.
What? I don't know, I just heard
it's music next door at the bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's alright. Just ruined my whole review. It's
my
fine.
bad. No, I didn't think you would stop talking. You can keep going.
What were we talking about?
Oh my god.
So Gustavo Fring turns the cop, and they're gonna wait for Dracula to get there, and they're gonna kill him, and then they'll run everything. But then, so he turns him,
which is,
and then go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's interesting because he obviously appealed to the cop's like desire for power, and then that ends up literally getting him stabbed in the back. So. Because then you see the stake come through.
Yep.
Because
it's called symbolism.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. But yeah, that's because oh my god, yeah, exactly. Like he has enough desire for power that he'll get turned, which means he has no problem killing this guy.
Yeah,
he killed a million fucking.
Yep.
Because now he doesn't have to share the power. Now it's all him.
And he pukes out all of his old blood.
Please stop using that word. You know that's like the one.
He chucks all of his vampire blood.
Oh my god, yes.
To his regular blood to have vampire blood.
I guess that's the implication. I don't know. He's just going for a minute there.
And
yeah. Oh, he doesn't need his glasses. I appreciate that they took those off. Because that would have healed.
Yep.
Yeah. What was I gonna?
He bites Abigail.
Yes. Oh yeah, he tries to kill her. I guess he doesn't completely drain her, but he mostly drinks her. And obviously, Joey gets away at that point because he's fucking distracted.
Yeah.
She tries calling her son. His voicemail does that thing that was like so funny to everybody when I'm in my middle school, where it's like, "Hey, haha, just kidding,"
So literally I told you I had to fire my first employee at the new job. I didn't meet this guy. We just had an issue, and then I had to do it. So I called his phone, and it was that, and it's like, haha, dick, it ain't me. And it's like this white kid doing that, and I'm just like, oh god. So I gave him 3 opportunities. So technically, he abandoned his position, so he doesn't get New Jersey state unemployment.
Oof.
So.
Well,
I hope your voicemail was funny.
Oh my god.
So yeah, but yeah, literally just as that happened in the movie, I was laughing. I was like, oh yeah, I fired a guy on Friday who had that.
But yeah, she leaves this very touching voicemail. And fuck's cop's guy's name, Frank. He interrupts. I feel like they should have switched Frank and Peter's names. I'm sure that in the reference, it makes more sense to have.
I like that it takes him until the 3rd act to realize it was a Rat Pack reference too. Yeah, after he gets a splinter, and it's like, because Catherine Newton falls into
the pool of bodies.
Swimming pool just filled with putrefied bodies. That's before she turns into a vampire and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my god! And then she does not clean off at all, and I get it. You're running from a vampire, but also there are points where they're chilling for a minute. I'm like. Just the sink, maybe?
And nobody's like, no, don't sit next to me.
There's one reaction when she first gets out of the pool of bodies. Is Joey's like, ugh, but then that's it. And then I'm like, she just stinks now. bodies in the water are gross, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't... That's, like, my least favorite type
I
of
love
body.
the reactions, though, in these guys' movies especially, because I fucking love the ending of Ready or Not, where the demon thing comes out of the fire, and she goes, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, the dude's head explodes or something like that. She has that response. And at the end, like, you know, just like, fuck rich people. Like, it's just ridiculous. But I like those reactions very much like the Thing with when the head grows, like, you know, the you gotta be fucking kidding me thing.
Yep.
But yeah, so they have a whole fight, and then Abigail has to team up with Joey to defeat Frank, and then Dracula shows up after Frank fucking explodes.
Yeah. Which was cool because enough had happened that I had forgotten. Like, when Lambert initially said that, he's like, oh yeah, I let your father know, or let her father know. God damn!
I fucking... Again, I live in a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah. What the fuck is... That was intense.
Yeah.
I think that's the loudest I've ever heard.
Oh no, it does that when I'm sound asleep.
Oh my god. But, yeah, so it was because when he said that, where he's like, oh yeah, I called Lazar, or whatever the fuck Dracula's name is here. Oh, sorry, I just randomly remembered something unrelated. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I gotta remember that he'll show up at some point. And just enough happened in between, it was just engaging enough that I had completely forgotten. Yeah. And then, like, when, you know, Abigail's eyes get all wide because she sees a figure behind Joey, I'm like, who the fuck? Oh, right! Like, it was the perfect timing.
It was the guy from the Intimidation Game.
Yeah.
That's the movie with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Isn't that Imitation Game?
Is that what did I say?
Intimidation Game?
What was the movie called?
Imitation
Game? What was Intimidation Game?
I don't know. That's on you.
Oh, Intimidation Game was the alternate title for Batman Begins.
Do you see why I hang out? It's fucking great.
Do you know what The Dark Knight was sent to theaters under the title of?
What?
So, and I think they still do it a lot of times. Posters and films will get sent under code names.
So that people don't, so like people delivering them aren't like,
and I'll never, the very first time I ever realized that was The Dark Knight came as Rory's first kiss. And that will always stick in my mind as Rory's first kiss was The Dark Knight. Yep. That had nothing to do with Abigail.
Nope, we keep getting
most of the things in this review have nothing to do with Abigail.
It's such a good movie, though. Once again, this is not us doing the Morbius thing where we're like, I just want to talk about anything else. We're just like, oh fuck, do you remember that thing? But oh yeah, the thing I remember, I love the fucking vampire teeth design here. Yeah. It is so hot. I cannot get over it. Oh my god. Cause like, I just opened that. Like, it's, they kind of look a little more like shark teeth. Yeah. A little bit. Cause they've got like layers to them. And they're like really long and like pointed, like not that part's not the shark tooth vibe, just the layer to it. I just it seems like you would be able to do a lot of damage with those. Yes, and then like specifically in the cop's mouth, they look like they were like keratin inwards. Do you know? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think they all had that, but because I know Lazar definitely did. They had different teeth also. That's why I thought it was super interesting. They didn't stick to like one tooth design. They all had the same general vibe. Yeah. Of like, you know, all the teeth are long and like pointed, but like thin pointed, not like you know your classic look. I didn't realize I paid this much attention to the teeth until right now. No, I mean I have a thing for teeth. So I noticed it as well because it was like, cool. Especially when she bites Elon Musk's throat when Catherine Newton does it. Like, it seemed like it would take like a chunk and then rip kind of vibe, you know? So I thought that, and then when they come in and then she's trying to hide that she's a vampire, and she's like, oh no, like, come on. Because it was also like when Tom Savini turned in From Dusk Till Dawn, and he's like trying to hide that he's a vampire now at first. But yeah, no, I really, really liked this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked that it was, it's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not a known IP. It's just an independent, not independent, but it's its own thing. Story. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. It's a lot like a lot of other stuff, but like genuinely, I aside from little nitpicks, I thought that this was like really, really fun. And I love this kind of new era of vampire movies that we're getting. Like we had Renfield and shit. Like
I love that we're kind of in this new age of interesting, especially because it's a Universal movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
okay, good.
Yeah, and so was Renfield.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
It can play in that universe of the classic monsters with its own thing, and it's like I like that. I like that we can have these kinds of things. Now, did you see the picture of Christian Bale as the Frankenstein monster?
No.
He kind of looks like the new Crow as well.
Okay.
Or like the.
I didn't even know there
the
was
Heath Ledger, or not Heath Ledger.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah, he looks like the Heath Ledger Joker.
Yeah,
exactly the same as the new Crow.
Yeah.
No, I did not hear that there was even...
It's essentially going to be a modernized remake of Bride, which I'm kind of bummed out about.
Because you like Bride quite a bit.
Bride is hands down the greatest horror sequel of all time.
I really undersold how much you like that. You like that quite a bit. You're like, it's hands down the greatest thing I've ever seen.
No, it's the best of all of the Universal monster movies. And it's just, God, I would talk for 2 fucking hours about how amazing James Whale's Bride of Frankenstein is. Elsa Lanchester is absolutely fucking stunning in that movie, and again, I've told you many times, it was the first like very openly queer, and openly anti-Christian, especially for that time. They had to change a lot of things. Dr. Perturbius is a extremely gay character who's essentially trying to, lure Victor away from a woman and into his arms, the arms of science. But basically, he's twisting the desires that are already there. It's a fucking brilliant film. And just the design of the Bride itself is amazing, and obviously was such a huge influence on my own Planet Frankenstein stuff, and to keep the the burns from the end of the first movie, and it's great. It's just fucking great. Abigail is great too. Abigail's obviously not as great as Bride of Frankenstein.
No, it was solid. It
was a lot of fun, and I really like this director. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the Scream movies. I've never really liked any of the Scream movies. I thought what they tried to do with these 2 new ones, I thought was noble. I remember you saw part 5 with me, I think, because
I thought that was the 6th one.
We might have seen.
I don't know why the hell.
I was at Water Tower because the girl who plays Joey in this is on top of the guy and she's stabbing him. Yeah. And I was just like, that's really hot, right? So
I mean, that's something I would
covered in blood in this one as well. Like,
I learned something new about the Scream movies. I'm sorry, no, I need to stop.
We won't go ahead. What did you learn?
I learned that he actually got stabbed with that umbrella, like. For real, because there's
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's got the spot where he had open heart surgery, and they were like, "Oh, we'll hit right here instead." So, and she misses because she's wearing the mask. The stunt woman does. Yeah. She just stabs him right in the surgery hole.
In the surgery hole is what they call it.
Yep. And sorry, I learned that yesterday. Yeah. I was just reading horror movie facts.
You just hang out with me. I'm just fucking a walking.
No, I know. It was just I was like trying not to fall asleep at the convention, and I was scrolling through. There's in one of the Discord servers I'm in, they post like, well, they used to be daily, but now they just post every so often. There's like a horror movie. Fact. Okay. And that was also why that's why I was asking about Oculus, because they were the ones who
that's right.
informed me that WWE was involved in Oculus.
I got Oculus and then the other WWE movie. See No Evil mixed up.
Yeah, because
Oculus is the one that was done by Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, and that doesn't have any wrestlers in it. That was what was weird about it.
And then the other one has Kane in it.
Yes.
And he's like a dude who like has a hook and like steals people's eyeballs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good, but I like things with eyeball trauma in them.
And I like Kane.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't Kane like run for like governor or something like that?
He was like a governor for a little while, and now we know about his politics.
Yeah, that's the
thing.
Wish
we didn't. Yeah, but that's fine.
You know who's a politician who's an absolute crazy person? Jesse Ventura. Like, he's just straight up a psychopath.
He was also a wrestler, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why? Why are you guys doing
But he believes in, like, crazy, crazy, supernatural stuff.
I mean, like, our 6th president or whatever thought that we had mole people living in the center of the earth.
We do.
Yeah. My bad, I shouldn't have said anything.
What do you mean? You're telling me that? Are you saying that's something I believe my entire life isn't true?
No, I would never.
Well, we were sitting before the movie. We went to Miller's Ale House to go eat, and there used to be a dude who played. We were watching the Minnesota Timberwolves and Phoenix Suns game, and there was a guy on the Suns who didn't believe in dinosaurs.
Oh, right, you mentioned.
Yeah, he said that they were a Jewish conspiracy, and I was like, I'm trying to
benefit from that.
I guess they know the people who have the most money would be the ones who could build the dinosaur bones, and
I guess.
and they're like, look, we built the pyramids. We know we can do some digging and stuff like that, so we might as well bury some dinosaur bones, and then like like imagine the mental gymnastics you would have to go through to go like. Well, they built the pyramids and they haven't lifted a finger since, so clearly they're burying fake dinosaur bones.
Oh my god. I give up.
It's like the people who don't believe that the earth is round.
Yeah. Fucking, yeah.
And
sorry,
it's like...
to go off into wrestling again, because I think I mentioned this maybe, that Bray Wyatt had during his Firefly Funhouse thing. No, his brother, Bo Dallas, is the one who doesn't believe, who believes the earth is flat and there were no dinosaurs. And he makes fun of that.
Can't they be what if could you be a flat earther who looks down upon people who don't believe in dinosaurs?
Probably.
And then if dinosaurs weren't real, then what the fuck's on that island in Isla Norba or whatever?
What?
Where they were using that true story where they were using the DNA in mosquitoes.
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
You said the name of the island and I just blanked.
I don't think that's what it was called.
Somehow.
I was trying to remember the name of it. Isla Nublar or something like that.
I don't think I've ever seen Jurassic Park. I just saw Jurassic World. I don't know, because I've seen 2 Godzilla movies also. One of them was Godzilla X Kong the other night. I was the randomest fucking...
But did you know who Mothra was?
Vaguely, as a concept. She's beautiful.
Yeah, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now,
my
thankfully,
characters,
I had a huge Godzilla fan next to me explaining all of it.
Okay, all right.
So I was good.
So you've seen Jurassic World, but not Jurassic Park.
Correct, yes.
Jurassic Park, one of the greatest
I know.
adventure blockbuster
I want to watch it.
Films of all time.
I'm like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I need to see that at some point. Fucking The Godfather is the same way. Rocky Horror, and you said
I
finally got Rocky Horror. Mm-hmm. I might be watching Rocky Horror tonight. Mm-hmm. Fucking finally. But
You've never seen Jurassic Park?
No. Who would have shown me Jurassic Park?
I don't know. Your family?
No, my dad just wanted us to watch Princess Bride 800 times, which, to be fair, Princess Bride is a very good movie.
And Big Money Hustlers.
What?
The ICP movie.
The what?
Because your dad's a huge ICP.
Oh, right.
I've created this whole new narrative.
Lore.
I've created this whole new lore that Metz's dad is super into ICP.
Which is extra funny because my brother is very much into ICP.
We were stuck in traffic or something. I don't know where that came from.
Well, because why were we talking about?
I don't know.
Came up. No, but what reminded me of that in the first place?
I don't know.
Oh my god, I don't know.
It just something came up and it was your dad calling you to let you know it that he's now really into ICP.
Yeah, because I really was going to ask me how to do
that. Yeah, and you need to respect his new life decisions and stuff like that.
I would so respect that life decision. Are you kidding me? My dad suddenly becomes a juggalo. That's probably the coolest thing he's done since college.
He gets a Hatchet Man tattoo, but it's of a veterinarian.
Are we making jokes about him in the face paint during surgery and whatnot? You called it a hysterectomy on a cat.
Yeah,
which to be fair, that's the human term for it. It's just called spaying. But
Mrs. Jones, your ferret's gonna live. Woot woot.
Yeah, no, we came up with this lore. This is not true. Do not contact
Allegedly.
my father. Ask him if he likes ICP, he will not know what you're talking about. Please don't contact my father in general. I don't know why you'd want to.
They're gonna look for Ray.
Oh yes, of course, Ray. I probably have a fucking cousin or something named Ray. Actually, it sounds familiar.
That's a very... Yeah, I could see you having a cousin named Ray. I was yesterday at the convention. I was we're in North Jersey. How many guys in here do you think are named Nick? Yeah.
I was probably.
Yeah. All right, so go see Abigail.
Oh my god, that's working.
Go see Abigail.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I am excited for more movies like this, more fun twists on the monster mythos and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. That's all I got.
For now. Peace.
Woo woo.